All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the Wednesday, May 16, 2018 special presentation ceremony. Our first item is going to be Mr. Larry Roth. You're up, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. It's not very often that we get to come and thank some of the staff in person, and I thought that tonight would be a good night to do that with hurricane season just around the corner and the hard work and dedication that our linemen put in to Hurricane Irma last year. I can't say how many people expressed in the community thanks to me for the rapid service and the time it took for them to get their power back on versus somebody who lived right across the street from Florida Power and Light. It's just a testament to what you guys did and the work that you guys did for our community that made me realize that I may not say it often enough to any of the staff that work for the city, but thank you guys for your hard work and your dedication to the city. I see everybody's looking up. Slideshow of, I guess, the year or so that has been going on. And we wanted to, or I wanted to recognize the linemen for their work and their efforts in making this city shine when it came to a natural disaster, whether it be a hurricane, whether it be somebody running into a utility pole and knocking out power to a neighborhood. These guys just answer the call every time. I just remember about a month ago I was helping someone on the side of the road. It was about 4:30, 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30 in the afternoon, right here on the corner. 4 utility trucks are heading out to do something. I was like, that's our guys. That's what they do. When the call comes in, they respond, and that makes me proud to stand up here and be able to say that. So I wanted to recognize them tonight. Let me invite them all up. All you guys that are here, come on up. These are our linemen. These are the guys we rely on to keep the power on in the city of Homestead. Come around here. And we'll bring your family up too. Come on, family. Join them. You guys deserve. You guys have to put up with when they're called out late at night and when you have to deal with them not being at home. Barbara, come on up. You're part of this. Barbara, who is the department head for the utility department, and her guys. You know, last month, they actually have a day designated for Lineman Appreciation Day. And later on in the month, we actually had a lunch, or they had a lunch over at the utility department that I got to attend, which was really cool. Lineman Appreciation Day was a couple days delayed, but they had a nice lunch, and I went by and said a few words to them. So I feel that not only when there's a storm threatening and we are facing a potential of a true disaster, that these guys have our back. These guys will not fail us. These guys will go out and they'll do what it takes to get the power back on so that the residents in the city are back to normal. And I appreciate that very much. Now, with that said, we've had some certificates here, some certificates of appreciation. Let's go ahead and hand them out. You got names on them? Ramon Ramirez. I know him as Ray. Me and Ray go back a long way. Thanks, brother. Thank you for your service. I remember 20 years or so ago, me and Ray were out in the baseball fields umpiring Little League Baseball. Long time ago. Michael Coutier. Thank you for your service. All right, Barbara, what was the last name again? Quijano. Marco Quijano. Hey, Marco. Nice to see you, brother. What's that one?
Jesse Marua.
Jesse? Jesse Marua. Thank you, brother. Thank you for your service. Brett West. Thank you, Brett. Thank you very much. John Ingram. Thank you, John. Jason Wilkerson. Jason, thank you. Thank you. Drew Steen. Thank you, Drew. Thank you. Billy Pierce. Thank you, Billy. Daniel Church. Thank you, Daniel. Dean Clements. Oh, there he is. Hey, Dean. Good to see you, Dean. Will Whirl. There he is. Thanks, brother. Thank you for your service. And that's all we have for that's here. There's a few others that are not here. I'll mention their names real quick. It's Dean Clements. Will's here. Oh, okay. No, Henry Domina, Kevin Faddis, Lazaro Fraga, Jeffrey Beasley, Raul Baez, and Miguel Lorenas, George Schultz, and Leonard Cunningham. All these guys, and Bill Milner, and Henry Palmer. All these guys, you know, sacrifice when the time comes. I know that when Hurricane Irma hit us, the cooperation between other agencies that came in to help you guys as well. I saw the pictures. I didn't spend that much time with you guys during that event, but I think I brought ice to you guys at one point too. The call went out for ice, we brought ice down. But I just wanted to thank you guys. I know hurricane season's coming up, and I believe that you guys will continuously watch over us when the call comes in. And again, I appreciate your service and your time. And I have one more little thing I wanted to do. I reached out to a local restaurant. They stepped up. Texas Roadhouse, come on up here, please. I know you have a gift or two for each of these linemen. I reached out to Texas Roadhouse, and they didn't even hesitate to say they would provide what they're providing, which I believe is dinner for two for each of the linemen here. And I just want to say, you know, Texas Roadhouse, since they've come into the community, has been an outstanding supporter of the community and has dedicated and donated a lot of time and money to our community as well. So I want to say thank you to Lisa and Texas Roadhouse, and you can go ahead and hand these out to the gentlemen. If they're not here, Barbara will make sure they get them. Thank you, I appreciate it. Now, if any of you want to invite me to go with you, I'll be happy to. Lisa, do you want to say anything?
Just thank you all very much. I mean, obviously, everything stops without power, and I specifically know that because I have a very elderly and sick mom. So what you guys do is greatly, greatly appreciated. We hope to see you all at the restaurant.
There you go. Guys, thank you all very much, families, for coming out and supporting them. Thank you for your service. Thank you. You're welcome, guys. Hold on, they want to do pictures.
They want to take a picture with you all.
Excuse me?
They're all right here.
Yep, all four of them?
Yeah, there are 6 girls, but only four.
Four
Only four
showed up,
showing,
right?
yes,
Right.
4 and the coach.
I'm on. We turned on. You're on. Just didn't know.
Mr. Burgess has our next presentation, which is a high school poetry team, louder than a bomb. You got it, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're here today to recognize and congratulate the Homestead High School poetry team. In their first year under the guidance of Mr. Crespo, also an English teacher out there at the school, they came in and made it to the semifinals of the Louder Than a Bomb Florida Poetry Competition. This is more than a poetry club. This club here goes under the name of Blue Apple Poetry Network of some sort. And what this does is it provides a safe place for these students to go, express their feelings and their thoughts and their emotions without any thoughts being put back on them, reprisal or scorn from their peers. They've done a great job out there. Like I said, it's their first year. They've got 10 members in all, 4 of which have made it here tonight to receive their congratulations, and we're very proud of them. And if I could call Mr. Crespo up here for a minute, their mentor and leader, give us a few words about how this whole operation came about over there at the school, and then what the plans are for it in the future. I certainly would appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate the introduction. Hi, so nice to meet you all. What I did this year was not so much anything special. I just guided these young ladies into feeling confident enough with their own words and ideas to communicate them openly in front of large groups of people sometimes. It was nerve-wracking, but I saw these young ladies blossom. I saw them effloresce when they realized that the things that they were going through and the things that they were willing to speak about openly and honestly in front of other people had value. Whole auditoriums full of people cheering them on when they stopped, when they got emotional, when they felt for just a moment that they couldn't finish. There were people saying, "Get it, go on, keep it up." It was one of the most beautiful things I've seen in my 17 years as a teacher. And really, the kudos should all go to the ladies who are sitting back here in the second row and who really had the courage to stand up and speak when they never had any experience doing it before. Some of them hadn't even really written before this year. So we're hoping that with some of the notoriety they've gained, some of the publicity they've gotten, and some of the self-assurance that they've experienced as a result of this, that we can continue to grow the program, that we can continue to put people in a place where their voice is valued and that they're listened to. If we can continue to grow that, then we'll be creating the kinds of leaders who literally will stand up and make changes instead of waiting for somebody else to make them for them. And that's really what our job as educators is to do, right? To mold and shape people who can see a better future and then are willing to go out and do it. So I just want to salute my ladies that are here today who went out there and kicked butt all year long just by working, and I'm proud of you all.
We've got a little plaque here for him, and it says, "The Super Bowl of Poetry, empowering and uniting South Florida's youth and community through the art of the spoken word." And we have a certificate of recognition for the participant for her outstanding performance at the Louder Than a Bomb Florida Poetry Competition held on the 14th of April, 2018 on the campus of Nova Southeastern University. The City of Homestead salutes you, presented on this day by Councilman John Burgess, Mayor Jeff Porter, Vice Mayor Stephen Shelley, Councilwoman Jennifer Bailey, Councilwoman Patricia Faircloth, Councilman Elvis Maldonado, and Councilman Larry Roth. So, Coach, if I may call you Coach, since...
Yes, sir. That works for me.
Marley DeSarmas, if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. Congratulations. Job well done. Morelia Vera. Great job. Emerson. Congratulations. Great job. And we can't forget the leader of the group, Mr. Crespo.
Thank you very much.
Any of you young ladies want to say anything? Since you're great speakers? Feel free. Do you want to share a little bit of one of your poems or whatever you'd like to say?
Do your thing, Jasmine. You right here.
I'd just like to say that the Poetry Club has done a lot for me. I've progressed a lot during the Poetry Club, and I've got to know more about myself through my poetry. And although I may grow up and do more things on with my life, I will never forget a lot of stuff that the Poetry Club taught me.
Once again, I'd just like to say congratulations, job well done. There's nothing that makes us happier here at the city than to see our young people out representing the city and doing such a fine job. So congratulations and keep up the great work, ladies. And
Thank you. Hang on a second. Oh, wait, yeah, let's get Monica's dad.
Come up closer if you need to take a picture.
Señor Vera, ¿quiere venir más? ¿Si quiere? ¿Sí puedes? No, go ahead. Si quiere.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess, Mr. Roth. Congratulations to everyone. And at this time, that concludes the special presentation ceremony. We'll be back at 6 o'clock. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Wednesday, May 16, 2018 council meeting to order. It's approximately 6 p.m. This evening we'll have the invocation by Pastor Bill Weaver, pastor of Gateway Church of Christ, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Roth and the Homestead Police Explorers. Would you all please stand? Turn it around, sir. Turn it around.
Let's pray together. Most gracious, loving Heavenly Father, as we come before you, Father, we recognize that all that is good in this life comes from you. Father, we thank you for every blessing, and we thank you for watching over this nation, the state, and the city. Father, we come before you tonight, and we thank you for this opportunity to consider the needs of this community. And Father, we thank you for those who are in positions of leadership here. We ask that you grant them guidance and understanding and wisdom. And Father, we thank you for all the men and women who are here tonight out of concern and care for this community. Father, we ask you to watch over this city and to guide us as we seek to move forward in unity through diversity. And we just thank you for being our guide in all that we do. All this we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forward arms. Left face. Forward march.
Thank you. Please be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado. Here. Councilman Roth.
Here.
Councilman Burgess. Here. Councilwoman Fairclough. Here. Councilwoman Bailey. Here. Vice Mayor Shelley. Here. Mayor Porter.
Here. Any additions, deletions, deferrals? I know we have a legislative update. Any other additions, deletions? Seeing none, item 1, I see we have our representatives. Where are they? Oh, they're hiding behind the staff. Please come up. Representative Rashine and Representative McGee and Senator Flores, we really, really appreciate everything. Appreciate you coming out tonight, and I know we brought you out early. Oh. Oh, I got it.
Mayor and council members, such an honor to be here with our delegation from South Dade. And first and foremost, on behalf of the people of the Florida Keys, I want to thank the city for all your assistance in our recovery efforts. And Chief, your department in assisting the Keys after Irma was tremendous, and we're just very, very grateful and thankful. So thank you, and all the other efforts on behalf of the city of Homestead. So we continue the recovery process, and in that same vein, that's kind of was the focus of the legislative session in 2018, this past session that we just wrapped up, and we were riding the hurricane wave. Our state was in the midst of recovery, and our communities down here, especially in South Florida, and then the tragedy of Valentine's Day happened, the Parkland tragedy. And I don't know, I've never been in the Capitol where the air was literally sucked out of that building, and we had to do an about face, and it just completely changed the trajectory, not only policy-wise, but also in the budget. And we sponsored a number of issues on behalf of the city. One was a great resiliency project that would harden your grid here locally. And of course, we had Laura Wilt on behalf of the avocado farmers. We actually did bring that one across the finish line. And a number of other issues. Farm Share, I know, got a decent amount of funding, but all in all, we had to significantly cut the budget. Unfortunately, the Seminole Theater project was not funded, and I know that's one of our favorite items to work on, and it's amazing to see the work that you all are doing at that facility. But again, all in all, at the end of the day, I think that we did a great job as a legislature. I think we did a great job as a delegation, focusing on our needs as a community as well as the state. And again, the change that happened with the tragedy in Parkland. And I think there's a couple other things that we should note that we stopped from happening, and Senator Flores does a good job at highlighting this in the attack on home rule. That seems to be a constant battle up there in Tallahassee. And speaking to a local government, I think we all kind of united and helped stop some bad public policy from passing. And another thing, and you also note this, I'm kind of stealing her notes, we had a constitutional revision commission just complete its work. And there's going to be a number of proposals on our ballot in November, and I definitely encourage you all and your team to take a look at those. A couple of the more egregious ones affecting local governments were left off, thankfully, but there are still some items on there, good, bad, indifferent. Definitely encourage your people to take a look at that. So with that, I will back it up.
Great. I'll just, echo much of what Representative Rashine said. We've got a great team up in Tallahassee. Working with both Representative Rashine, with Representative McGee is an incredible honor for me. And again, I feel like I always have to say, thank you to the City of Homestead for adopting me. I've been in the legislature for a long time, but have only had the honor of serving Homestead for the last 2 years. I'm in the middle of my last term. So come 2020, I won't be your senator anymore, and there will be an election, and it'll be someone else, and hopefully it will be someone who has a strong love for the city of Homestead, as I do as well. And so we've had some good years, and this year, unfortunately, really was marked by the tragedy that happened in Parkland. And so when you have to make an investment in one area of the budget, in this case in education, we invested $400 million on a series of issues that have to deal with prevention, that have to deal with law enforcement, that have to deal with Baker Act, mental health, so many things, and that money kind of has to come from somewhere. And unfortunately, that money came from several of the local projects that we had. As we go into the next legislative session, we have a great, foundation for us to be able to move forward. It is wonderful that so many of the members of the council and the mayor travel up to Tallahassee often throughout session. That's a very great point to be able to see exactly what it is that goes on. And again, I'll just end on echoing what Representative Rashine said on the importance of the Constitutional Revision Commission. When the elections come in November, we're all going to be focused, and we're going to know who's running for governor and for U.S. senator and for fill-in-the-blank, positions. We're going to know who those elections are. What we're not going to know is their much, because you're not going to get mail, you're not going to see commercials on. There's probably going to be about 15, I think there's a total of 15 amendments, maybe a couple more. But these are amendments that if they make it into the Constitution will have a very major impact on your constituents' day-to-day life. Some of them might be great. Some of them you might look at and you say, that's not really something I want in the Constitution. And voters in Homestead are going to be looking to each of you for your recommendations. So I don't think that the council is going to take positions on them. But I think individually it's important to know, because these are things that will have a major impact on how it is, not just how the state functions, but how a lot of our cities function as well. Because we had legislative session earlier this year, normally we're there March and April. This year we finished a little bit earlier, just in the beginning of March. You won't see much or any legislative action until after the election in November. So we have a couple of months of downtime, and then after the election and going into the end of this year, we'll start going up to that session. So I imagine that probably towards the beginning of the fall would be the right time for this council to start to be finalizing what are the legislative priorities that we have to get done for next year. So again, thank you so much for the honor and privilege of representing you, and we look forward to next session, which will unfortunately be here sooner than we think.
Like tomorrow, right?
Yeah. So great. Thank you all so much. If anyone has any questions,
Representative.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the council, and I echo exactly what my colleagues have stated. In Tallahassee, it's always good to see you. When we see friendly faces, familiar faces, it brings a sense of a reality that we are home. And when you're up in Tallahassee, you do feel alone. But seeing your faces, it's always a great opportunity and a great chance to catch up on business. As you heard, the CRC will have many amendments. But one of the most important amendments I believe is important to the city, in particular certain sections of it, is going to be Amendment 4. That's going to be the amendment that allows for individuals who have gone through the criminal justice system to have their rights restored. That is of great importance to me, and it's of great importance to the constituency I represent. So again, as you heard before, there are going to be so many different issues that many people are going to be looking towards you for that guidance. We simply ask that whatever you do, whatever way you go with that, just continuously educate the people about the issues that are going to be there and let them make their own decisions. But I can just say for me, the important issue on the rights restoration, civil rights, is going to be Amendment 4. So that's something that we're looking forward to. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any council questions, Vice Mayor? Or Ms. Fairclough?
Okay, yes. Thank you so much for being here to provide us the update of, obviously, of course. My question is related to education. I was speaking to Senator Flores, and I was asking her, why is it that the Miami-Dade County Public School District only received a 47-cent increase as it relates to base student allocation? And I understand with the tragedy in Parkland, that a lot of the money went to Safe Schools, and I believe the district received $10 million in that funding. But why is it that Miami-Dade ranks 65 out of 67 counties when it comes to an increase in base student allocation. We only beat out probably Gaston County, which is the poorest county in the state. So why is it that the counties who need it the most are getting the short end of the stick when counties like Dixie County, who has an average home purchase of $78,000, and the district is $348,000? I just don't understand that.
Yeah, so, there is obviously no easy answer to this, and I'd, first, the 47 cents number, I'd say something that's a little bit misleading, in the sense of, when you, never has the district looked at only increase when it comes to operational dollars. When they talk about their increases or the decreases, they talk about the entire pot. This year, they looked at it only in the operational sense, but the overall increase in per student is, I think it's closer to about $78. Now, a lot of that money is gonna go to the issues that the districts have identified or something that are important. So they are dollars that are restricted as it relates to safe schools, as it relates to having personnel, be it through school resource officers or through armed school personnel. A lot of that money is restricted to that. And so, this was just, it was just kind of one of those years where there are increases in the school budget. It's just being used for the issues that were identified as being most important for this year. As we move into next year, this is something that we are a continuous battle on. I know that one of the things specifically for Dade County is we've had what's known as a district cost differential, which is part of our formula and how we come up with per student funding that several years ago, about 10, 12 years ago, was changed to the great detriment of Miami-Dade County. For the last several years as a delegation, we have tried to get that funding formula portion back in. And so this year we were finally able to get a study of what bringing back a district cost differential would mean for larger counties such as Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. And so that's funding for a study that's going to be done for by outside personnel, which the governor has supported, which we fully believe that once that study comes back as we get into next legislative session, that it will show that the districts, the larger urban districts, should get more money. And so, it's part of a formula that we play with, that it's not perfect, and we know that. And so, this was, again, one of the challenges that happened after this year and happened after when priorities had to shift very quickly at the end of session. And so it's something that we know as we go into next session, again, hopefully with this study coming back, that we'll see some major increases to our school system.
To me, it just seems like it's supplanting resources as opposed to supplementing. And providing more additional resources. And as it relates to safe schools, there's this lingo, hardening of schools. Can we just talk a little bit about what this funding will provide for the sake of the community, the parents, and any educators out there, so that they know exactly what this hardening of schools mean and what the $10 million will provide to all of our schools?
The specifics on what that would be is going to be up to the school district. What we did in the legislature is that we kind of gave the school district a menu of options of what they could use that money for. Because of course the needs in Homestead will be different than the needs in Dixie County, and the needs in Monroe County will be different than those in the Panhandle. So those can be used for a series of things. For example, bulletproof windows, or if a school district wants to have metal detectors, or if a school district wants to limit the number of access points that come into campus. So there's a menu of options that the school districts can get to choose from, and my hope is that they'll work with the local schools directly, and it's especially in a district like Miami-Dade County, where even our district is so diverse, that they'll work with each of the regions to make sure that money is spent on the things that will be most needed in that area. Because even when it comes to, for example, with school resource officers, which is a separate section of funding. There are some school districts that want to have more school resource officers. There are some school districts that will say, we don't actually need a school resource officer. We're fine with hiring, you know, an off-duty police officer or, you know, or something different. So we designed this legislation for it to be flexible, so that it would be flexible for each district, but even that it would be flexible within each school, because like I said, some schools might want or need a metal detector. Some schools might say, you know, we don't need a metal detector. What we need to do is that we need to limit the access points. Some other school might say, well, what we need is that we, you know, want to have the windows covered so you don't know who's coming in, or we might need to have the locks locked from the inside or locked from the outside. So those are just some of that menu of options that the school districts are going to get to choose from, and hopefully they'll be working with the individual schools so they do what's best for that local community.
Right. Let me allow State Representative McGee to kind of weigh in on this. I know you put out a press release regarding the 47-cent increase in base student allocation. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are simple as it relates to the 47 cents. I think it was a quagmire that this community was placed in. I think it was appalling, to say the least, and I think we should have done better. I think we had the governor down here months prior who stood in Coconut Grove, I believe, and bragged about the amount of resources that he and his team would bring to this county, and only to find out that Miami-Dade County received 47 cents. The operation cost is through the roof, and now teachers are having to decide whether or not they're going to actually teach in a very safe and controlled environment, as opposed to wondering whether or not the doors are going to be safe and whether or not they can provide a safe environment for the students. So that's where we are. We're in a very, very awkward situation. I recall the debate we had on the floor. I brought this issue up. We saw this coming, no question about it. And to say that you're only going to give students in Miami-Dade County a 47 cents increase when your state's budget is $88.7 billion. It's appalling. A meager 47 cents. We spend 47 cents in a second simply paying, you know, buying something that costs over $10. And for us to say that we cannot find anything more than 47 cents for our students, we all should be held accountable, because that's a problem. As it relates to school hardening, look, no question about it. And one of the, you know, the biggest advocates we had up there on this issue was our senator, and even in Representative Rashawn. You know, we fought to craft a piece of legislation that would actually assist all counties to make sure that everybody had a piece of the pie. But eventually, what it came down to was a rush piece of legislation that's going to require us to go back and look at some of the areas that we should have done a better job in at the time. But in hindsight, this is where we are, and we're going to do a better job. I am confident in my colleagues, and we're working across the aisle, and confident in what you see here. And I believe in all of my heart of heart that you have, representing the city of Homestead, some of the best members in the entire state of Florida. And so what you heard from the senator and what you heard from the representative is actually accurate. But my difference as it relates to the 47 cents, it's insulting. I've called for a special session. I think we all ought to go back to Tallahassee to find the money. Because if we can give the monies to different organizations and groups who do not have the impact on the children that you teach and the children that you've raised and the children that my wife teaches, I know for a fact we can find the money to help further the education in our children and our future in Florida.
Thank you. And thank you for the work that you do, and I'm confident that you will continue to make decisions that are in the best interest of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just want to thank the delegation. I mean, we have great representatives up there in Tallahassee, you know, and I know this year, because of the circumstances and because of the tight budget at the end, you know, we didn't get some of the local projects funded, but I think we have to remember the prior years where we did get local projects funded, and we went many, many years here in the city of Homestead without any funding coming from Tallahassee in any form or any fashion, and over the last 2 or 3 years, we've received more dollars than we ever have, and so that's to the leadership that we have standing in front of us. You know, what you guys do up there, I've been able to watch firsthand the ability of you guys to fight for us here in the city of Homestead and South Dade, and all across during the hurricane, you know, the representatives of Monroe County, we're barking like crazy to make sure that they get the dollars they needed to help their constituents down there, and including some of us here in South Day that also needed assistance after being affected by the storm. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for all that you have done for us and will continue to do for us, and for representing us so well up in Tallahassee. And also, you know, to my colleagues, you know, one of the points to be made, I think, is to make sure that we do early on get our legislative priorities together, because you know, our representatives up there can only work with what we give them. And so when we give them this long laundry list of items, yes, 10, 20 pages, it's like a book up there. And so what becomes difficult for them to figure out what is our actual priority. And yes, they can pick and choose for us, but they do a much better job when we tell them that this is the number 1 or number 2 priority that they need for us. And then they're able to run and they're able to work and they're able to get us what we need. So I think that's something that is critical for us to help them help us, and that we do that early on this year, give them their list in consultation with them so that they can tell us and advise us what is the most likelihood of success based on the current environment that they are walking into, and that will help them a lot. So I just wanted to raise that while we're on the topic. So thank you guys again, and thank my colleagues for taking the time to listen to me.
And to the Vice Mayor's question, what is actually early? What date is actually early to get it to you so that our staff knows the timelines that we're talking about? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, Mr. Manager.
Like I said, I mean, I kind of think like about the fall. So, you know, an election year is a little tricky because we don't exactly know who the players are going to be until after November. But then it goes really, really fast after that. So I would say like September, October is your ideal time when you're going to have a really good, you know, a good idea. And I think, again, I mean, a long list, but if you could just identify like the top 5, that is great, you know, and we know the areas where we, you know, like 1 or 2 in water, 1 or 2 in road, 1 or 2 in arts, and, you know, some social service programs, you know, that I know are important as well. But we try and get those top 5, and then that way we can try and bat 100.
We just want to get there in time to be considered in the process. So just.
The session is later, so we do have a little bit more.
Okay. Thank you so much. We really, as the Vice Mayor said, we really have been fortunate with you all and your leadership and helping us to secure things. And you know, the partnership that we've created over the years has been incredible. And the city thanks you. There's a lot of projects we couldn't have done without your participation and the state level's participation and throwing resource our way to help our resource go farther. So thank you very much for taking the time to come down, and I know, Senator, you're late to something.
No, it's okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Maldonado.
Thank you, Mayor. And I kind of missed my cue when we were asking for the additions, deletions, deferrals. I was in the middle of trying to download my my PDF here, so forgive me. But I wanted to ask for a motion, and it was want to know if we could still, you know, open that up.
We're still there.
Okay.
We're still there. Yes.
So in addition, I want to ask for a motion so that we could. I was one of the no votes on the flag issue for the car dealership, and I wanted to bring it up for another consideration. Some of the thoughts. So, if I'm looking for a motion for consideration for next. I don't know. You guys would draw it up. I know it's not today. It's just needed.
James, what's the process here? Motion to reconsider.
So, Councilman Maldonado is referring to an agenda item that you had last month, which was a variance for the Hyundai car dealership. They were seeking 2 variances. One was for a sign variance, which was approved. The second variance was for a flagpole. They were looking for a 60-foot flagpole. That variance was denied. A motion for consideration can be made by the prevailing party at the very next council meeting following the meeting where it was denied, which would be tonight. And so Councilman Maldonado can just make the motion to reconsider. If it's seconded, you all can vote on it. And then if approved, then the agenda item will be re-advertised, and it'll come to you next month, just as it did last month. It'll be the same agenda packet, the same materials, and the applicant can supplement at that time during the public hearing. If there's any additional information the applicant wants to have or discuss or hand out, they'll have a chance and be able to do so at the public hearing.
Okay. All right, so following the process, Mr. Maldonado has made a motion to reconsider. Is there a second? Motion is seconded. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
I abstain. I have a conflict for the record, okay? So the motion passes. It will come back to us at the next meeting, correct?
Correct. We'll advertise it, and it'll come back under your quasi-judicial items for next month.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, tab 1 is a consent agenda. Is there a motion? Second? All in favor? So we also have item 2, 3, 4, and 5. We can put them all together, right, James? Or is it we do all the consent agendas under the one item? So we just did under the one.
You just did it under one item.
Got it. The public hearings, James?
Yes, moving on to public hearings. This is the quasi-judicial section of your agenda. Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the counsel to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record, and persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda.
Mr. Burgess?
Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you could note that I've had discussions on items 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I've had discussions also with lobbyists for tabs 6 through 11.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Roth?
The same. I've had discussions with 6 through 11 as well.
Ms. Bailey?
6 through 11 for me as well.
Sorry, your mic didn't come on.
Sorry, 6 through 11 for me as well.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, also, I think tab 11 and maybe tab 6.
You know, further
I've had conversations as well. Same, we've all been approached, so. But Mr. Marlon as well. Go ahead, James.
So at this time, I'll ask the clerk to swear in any persons who wish to testify on any of the quasi-judicial items this evening.
Would you please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me? I, please state your name, hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Tab 6.
Mayor, council members, tab 6, 7, 8, and 9 all pertain to the same application, or same development. I can introduce each one of those. You can have a collective discussion, public hearing, and then each one of those in a separate vote if that's.
That's fine. Please go ahead, sir.
Tab 6 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an amendment to the previously approved Crystal Lakes Plan Unit Development Master Plan to permit all retail commercial zoning district B1 permitted uses on an approximately 1.61 acre parcel located within the Crystal Lakes PUD, the southeast corner of Campbell Drive, 312th Street, and southwest 147th Avenue is legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading. Tab 7 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval for a convenience store with 8 ancillary self-service gas pumps on an approximately 1.61 acre parcel located at 3310 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. Tab 8 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a special exception requested by Racetrack Petroleum to permit a convenience store with 8 ancillary self-service gas pumps located at 3310 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. And finally, tab 9 is a final order of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a certificate of use to allow the sale of beer and wine for off-premises consumption in conjunction with the operation of a convenience store located at 3310 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
So we have the applicant here. Yes. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Slavens. My address is 701 Brickell Avenue, Suite 3300. I'm here on behalf of the applicants, and I'm joined by Victor Suktahapa from Racetrack, Kevin Betancourt from Thomas Engineering, Michael Yates, our traffic engineer, and my colleagues from Holland and Knight. I want to thank staff for their hard work to get us here this evening. We were here before you last month with a modification to the Crystal Lakes PUD, specifically for the parcel that's on the corner of Campbell Drive and 147th Avenue. Tonight you will hear the second reading of that application along with the site plan application, the special exception application, and the certificate of use for the development that's proposed on this property. The property is about 1.6 acres, and it's on the south side of Campbell Drive, as you can see from this aerial. Because it is within the Crystal Lakes PUD, we do have to change the designation on the parcel from its prior identified retail use to this proposed all commercial B1 uses, which in this case will be a gas station and convenience store operated by Racetrack. The convenience store will offer a multitude of amenities. It's intended to be a neighborhood market of sorts. It will have fresh food, deli, frozen yogurt, hot soups, all kinds of things for people passing through, as well as coffee bar and normal convenience store items. And the ancillary gas station use will feature 8 pumps with 16 fueling stations. Our request for the certificate of use is to allow the store to sell beer and wine for off-premises consumption. I have a building, which is a 5,400 square foot, one-story store. It features outdoor seating, and its facade is an enhanced elevation that's atypical for Racetrack, particularly compared to the one that you've seen on Campbell Drive. It features stone accents and brickwork, awnings, and covered areas for outdoor dining. We believe that this store is going to be an attractive addition to the Crystal Lakes Shopping Center, and it will engage the intersection a little bit more than it's been as it lies vacant. We think that the attraction of this store will be a wonderful thing for the residents that live to the south of Campbell Drive, including the aisles at Oasis and some of the other developments that have come in. And we feel that the workers that are in the area from Baptist Hospital to the Palace will also find this a very convenient location to refuel and get their meals and supplies for the day. With that, I open it up to any questions you may have.
Mr. Cordino, anything from staff?
No, sir. This is a second reading, so we've seen this before. Again, the applicant did a great job of explaining it. I think we have it's met all the provisions of the code in each of the 4 applications. Planning and Zoning Board is seated and vote unanimously to approve on each occasion, and it got through us on first reading last time, right? So we're good to go.
Any questions from council? Ms. Fairclough.
Yes, just a comment. Tonight is a better night. I had an opportunity to speak with the representatives regarding this project, and I got a better understanding of the amenities that would be offered with this product, and I wanted to ensure that it was a higher end product coming into the community before I supported anything. And I'm confident that what you are providing is on the higher end, and it will serve as a benefit to my constituents and the district that I represent. So I will be supporting this item tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments, questions from council? We're going to open up the public hearing on tabs 6, 7, 8, and 9, Anyone from the public that would like to come speak, you're welcome to at this point. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
Council, how are you? Jason Bass, here for Centennial Management, 7735 Northwest 146th Street, Miami Lakes. We're neighbors about a quarter mile to the east of this property, and are here in support of the project. Everybody, I think, is aware that that commercial corridor of Crystal Lakes and everything on Campbell Drive was approved some 10, 12 years ago. And it's nice to see that it's finally picking up and taking shape, and it's heading in the right direction. And as neighbors, we're here in complete support of the project. And also as a resident of Homestead on the east side of town of Keysgate, I'm here supporting also. It'd be nice to have, you know, it's an amenity, and it'll be an asset for the east side of town there, you know, for proximity to the turnpike and a laundry list of reasons. And I wasn't here at the last meeting, but here, second reading, just here to show support.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other comments? Any other questions? Close the public hearing. Is there a motion on tab 6? Is there a second? Second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes. Maldonado? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Raw?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 7, is there a second? Second. Moving and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Faircloth? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Is there a motion on tab 8? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth? Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 9, is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tab 10.
Yes, moving on to tab 10. Tab 10 is a final order of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a certificate of use to permit the sale of beer and wine for off-premise consumption in conjunction with the operation of a grocery store located at 240 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Cordino?
Yes, sir, we're
Hold-
Got me. Okay, thank you. We're recommending that the mayor and council approve this final order for the certificate of use for the Presidente Supermarket. Again, this is for the sale of beer and wine for off-premises consumption only in conjunction with the grocery store. We've evaluated it to the code, and it meets all of our provisions in the code. It's going to have hours of Monday through Saturday, 7 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 7 to 9 p.m. Planning and Zoning Board evaluated this and voted 4-0 to approve it. Again, we're recommending approval.
Any questions from council? Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilwoman Faircloth? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 11.
Yes, Mayor, Councilman, tab 11 has two corresponding items with it, which are tab 19 and tab 20. We can take all those together.
Let me get it, please.
All right, tab 11 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval of a 247-unit residential single-family subdivision for KINGMAN, LENNAR, located on the southwest corner of of Southwest 152nd Avenue, Kingman Road, and Maury Drive as legally described in Exhibit A, consisting of approximately 77 acres and providing for an effective date. Tab 19 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, expressing support for the expansion of the East Homestead Community Development District to incorporate an additional 77.3 acres, more or less, having external boundaries as depicted and legally described in Exhibit A, aggregately encompassing approximately 435.13 acres, having external boundaries as depicted legally described in Exhibit B, providing for conflict, severability, transmittal, and providing for an effective date. Tab 20 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving and authorizing Miami-Dade County to create and establish a multi-purpose maintenance and street lighting special taxing district for Kingman Commons, a residential single-family subdivision, aggregately encompassing approximately 77.3 acres, having external boundaries as depicted and legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Cordino?
Yes, sir. We're recommending approval of all three of these items. These all stem from an approval we gave to the applicant in 2015 for the development of what at the time we called Trio Kingman. The first one is a plat, or final plat, which is largely ministerial. The other two are expansions of various infrastructure funding mechanisms by which to pay for capital improvements and then lighting and landscaping. We are recommending approval of all of these.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Arza, name and address, please, sir.
Thank you. Hugo Arza, offices at 701 Brickell Avenue, representing LENNAR. This evening, I'm joined by my colleague Amanda Naljif, our firm, and by Carlos Gonzalez and Pedro Portela of LENNAR Home, as well as counsel for the East Homestead CDD, Ginger Wald. I had an opportunity to start and give a brief presentation the last time. I'd like to just go ahead and pick up from there once again. Thank you to staff and Mr. Cordino for their recommendation of approval, and thank you to all of you that I had an opportunity to speak with, particularly over the last 30 days. You know, we had some long conversations. Councilman Roth is chuckling at the corner. We had some long conversations about the inner workings of particularly the CDD item. You have three items before you today. The final plat, which is a as Mr. Cordino said, largely a ministerial act by which you provide for the subdivision of land. You've previously, your staff has previously approved the tentative plat, and more importantly, this board, this council, many of you that are sitting up there have previously approved the site plan. And so obviously this just carries that out, and this continues to be 247 single-family homes on large lots, R1. So I think that I don't put any words in anyone's mouth. I think generally speaking, folks are happy with the project and what the project looked like. I think over the last 30 days, we've had conversations about some of the related aspects, not so much the plat, of course, and I don't think so much about the special taxing district, which is a requirement of both your city code and the county code. So that one, you know, our hands are a bit more tied in the sense of while we do need your support, your expression of support this evening, they are requirements of the professional staff that and the codes of both jurisdictions. So it all comes down to the community development district, I think, and that's where we kind of left off and have had conversations over the last 30 days. The map up here shows that in this case we're actually expanding an existing CDD. And I'll touch upon that briefly. I mean, one of the principal reasons for not creating a new one, kind of simple economics. I mean, if you only have a CDD with 247 homes, those homes will have to take on the entire burden for some of the fixed costs that every organization would have. So think of it as a business. So the business is going to have insurance, and it's going to have to provide for a basic amount of maintenance, and it's going to have to hire a management company. They're going to have to do all of this. They are going to have to do it whether they have a CDD with a small number of units or whether it's a CDD with a large number of units. So when a project's coming in with a lot of units, you might create your own new CDD. In this case, both given the geographic proximity and the size of this project, what made the most sense was to expand the East Homestead CDD and allow that CDD to include the boundaries of the Kingman Commons, now known as Porta Vida project, which is under construction already. If you drive, and I'm sure most of you have driven, it's under construction. And if you have any questions about how sales are going and the like, they're going well, and I'm sure that Mr. Gonzalez or Mr. Portela would be happy to answer those. But we expanded, and in order to do so, you have to secure the approval of the Board of Supervisors of that CDD. So a second important point, this is, at this point, the East Homestead CDD, a CDD that is entirely controlled by the owners of that community. As all of you know, whether it's an HOA or a CDD, when the development starts, There's a period of time during which the developer, of course, because they continue to own the bulk of the land and the homes that are either yet to be built or haven't been sold, will control those entities in order for them to have enough people voting and quorum. In this case, enough time has passed whereby this East Homestead CDD is entirely in the hands of the owners there. So at no point will the folks who are purchasing, who've already under contract for this particular parcel, basically be a part of a governing body that is anything but owner, resident, neighbor controlled, which I think is important. So that CDD and that Board of Supervisors accepted and in fact unanimously voted and agreed to have their boundaries extended in order to add this land. We had a lot of conversations over the last 30 days about the relative merits and drawbacks of CDDs, to be candid. You only need to have lived through sort of the last downturn to see that there were a number of communities that the fact that the CDD was in place allowed them to continue to collect taxes as part of a taxing line item on the tax bill that we all get every year. And that ensured that there was a certain level of maintenance and upkeep, which helped those communities during the most difficult times. And so certainly one of the benefits is to allow a quasi-governmental agency. We know that HOAs do not have the same authority, do not have the same power. They can put a lien, and if property values go down, they may end up way down on the priority list, and it's hard for them to collect, and obviously hard for them then to do certain upkeep. So there's a great benefit there. There's obviously the benefit that we touted in conversations with many of you. We are, and the sale of homes, and particularly the sale of homes to first-time home buyers, it's just many of the ones that are going to want to come and buy a single-family home. Families are pressed up against the FHA loan limits, and so the ability to take a portion of the cost, and the CDD can issue bonds, and really ultimately a lot of the conversation came down to the issuance and the expenses that the CDD would undertake. First and foremost, the CDD is going to be able to issue bonds that will, in the case of the bonds, only be paid for by these 247 residents. So to put aside a concern that we sort of heard, there is no one who lives currently in the CDD is going to be burdened with an additional bond cost for the infrastructure that's going to go into this project. That burden will fall solely on those individuals that are purchasing today. And you may say, well, why not pay for that up front? Why don't you just sort of add that to the purchase price? All good questions. The reality is that the sale of these homes, and at least 4 of the 6 models that are for sale out there, are sufficiently, at a sufficiently good price in the mid-300s, where to add that cost to the cost of the home today, rather than providing for a financing mechanism by which the CDD issues a bond and you pay the bond price down as a resident, once a year when you have your fees, would push those home sales beyond the FHA limits. The FHA allows folks to buy homes with a lower down payment, allows a lot of, and the hardest thing for any home buyer is going to be to come up with the down payment. It's going to be the single hardest thing. A lot of times it's not folks who have an issue finding the money to pay on a monthly basis, but it's finding the money to buy that first home and get into that first home. So if you force folks out of the FHA realm, you're talking about more traditional conventional loans. You might need 10 or 15% down. Well, on a $350,000 home, 10 to 15% is 35 to 50, 55,000. I went to law school because I'm not very good at math, but that is a lot more money up front that those folks will have to do. The alternative, and the alternative that LENNAR has chosen, and the way that development has occurred in Homestead for the better part of the last 20 years, is for certain costs to be passed over to the CDD, for the CDD to issue the bonds, and then for the residents to pay those down. To be honest, most of you have brought it up. Well, so they still pay. Yeah, of course. Yes, they do still pay, but they would pay in both instances. The question is, can you create that attainability? It's not just a question of affordability, because at the end of the day, if you're paying in 2 pockets, you're still coming out of pocket for the same amount of money, perhaps, but attainability and the loan and the financing, and that's critical. So we had a lot of conversations about that, and I hope that you'll all understand a little bit more about where we're coming from with respect to that. There were concerns, and with respect to CDDs and sort of the potential for abuses or unfettered power. I remind you all of something the CDD Board of Supervisors are elected officials, and they must adhere to the same code of ethics that all of you do. They are elected by the residents of this community. They have monthly meetings. They have a budget hearing. This may all sound very familiar because in many respects they mirror local government in many ways. But it's not just enough for me to tell you that and for you to say, oh, take it on its face value. We also have gone back and we've looked at some of the rates and the charges that the CDDs have charged in the city of Homestead over the past 15 years or so, or since they started. And they're remarkably consistent with one exception, honestly, which is when the CDD takes on someone else's responsibility. And that's the only time you might see a blip up in what they collect. Ultimately, what happens is the HOA realizes that they would rather have the CDD take care of something, and so the HOA doesn't collect as much anymore, and it transfers over to the CDD. And we have been able to show some of you that have concerns about that, how outside of that, the operations, the O&M costs, operations and maintenance costs, the regular cost, putting aside the bond, which is issued once at the beginning and paid off over 30 years and never changes, have remained remarkably stable. So there has not been that sort of concern of unfettered abuse of, well, it's 50 or 70 or 100% higher, and is it because they just want nicer things and a small group of people want nicer things? It's not, it has not borne out. It is easy for me to tell you that won't happen. It's a lot better for me to tell you that over the last 15 years, we've been able to show that that hasn't happened. That's a much more powerful statement. So, we still feel strongly that, for this community, which I think is going to be a cornerstone community for your city, emblematic of the vision that this council and a great number of you that were on this council when I made the presentation for the prior owners to get this approved wanted. You wanted larger lots, you wanted single-family homes, you wanted something that diverted a bit from what you thought had been the wave of the last cycle. We heeded your concerns. We worked with you, and that plan didn't start the same way. I won't torture you with the long history, but you'll recall that at one point 474 homes or units were approved. The Mercedes Homes plan, which was approved at one point, it was valid, but for the downturn, might very well have resulted in 474 units, where there will be 247 today. And so the vision of this council was effectively carried out in approving the site plan back in 2015. LENNAR, more recently, last year, purchased this and commenced work right away, and obviously, as you can see, are out there building and are ready, later this year to be turning homes over. This project was envisioned with a CDD in mind, and the expansion of the East Homestead CDD is what made the most sense. And so our hope is that the explanations that we've given, for those of you that have had these questions, will be sufficient to make you realize that rather than an unchecked money grab of some type, the CDD serves a function. It serves a function during good and bad times. It has proven to be fiscally responsible with respect to what it is that they are, that they could increase on an annual basis if they went rogue, but they haven't done that in the instances of the CDDs that are in the community. And that, particularly where we are in the market and at this time with prices, that here we are looking at a situation where that CDD is allowing a lot of those home prices to remain, given the rising land costs, given the rising labor costs, giving everything else, including rising interest rates, which are putting pressure on prices, allows some of those costs to, again, be passed over to the CDD and allow these families to come in with an FHA loan, be able to move in, perhaps buy their first home in your city, and take advantage of the great things that Homestead has to offer. So again, I suspect that some of you are going to have some questions. I look forward to answering those. If I can't, like I said, counsel for CDD, for the East Homestead CDD is here, Ginger Wald, as well as representatives of LENNAR, the division president, Carlos Gonzalez, and Pedro Portela. So if I can't answer, I'd be happy to get one of them up. Thank you again, mostly for today, and for what we hope is a favorable vote, but also for all the time that you've taken. I've been up and down the turnpike a lot in the last 30 days. So I appreciate all the time that you've taken, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from council. Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Orrs, I guess this question would be for your colleague, Ginger. And my question is, this community's opened up, obviously, with the numbers that have been shared with me, it's not going to be filled for a while. So as they have their growing pains and need attention given to things over there without true representation on the board, because they'll have nobody elected there, what's the process for them, as there are going to be a small number of people there for a while? How would they go about to ensure that their CDD money is taking care of the needs that they see arising over there without, because they may fall 19 months until the next election, or I'm not sure the cycle of elections over there and stuff. So I'm just wondering how these people have an arm to argue with the CDD and make sure it's doing what they see needed and see as they grow over there and until they become a full community, or until there's an election where they might be able to put somebody on the board.
Let us just get your name, please. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Your name and address, please.
I was just going to do that.
I'm sorry.
Gingerwald, Building, Cochran, Lylesmore, Ramsey, and I've got a phone call. 515 East Las Olas Boulevard, 6th floor, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Thank you.
To answer your question, Councilman.
And I'm going to make it dominant.
Or the phone.
Thank you.
Yes, you are correct, and I think I may have answered this question last time it was asked of maybe the mayor of one of the other council people as to how the process occurs for someone to come on the board of East Homestead Community Development District.
Well, I know that they have to be elected, but I'm just worried about, say there's only 30, 40 homes, you know, as Mr. Gonzalez shared with me, they're not going to, you know, they're hoping their goal is, I think they said 6 to 10 homes per month to start. And so as those people open up, and it might be a year and a half or so before occupancy is to a full level, or 2 years, whatever it is.
As to getting on the board, I'll answer that, and then I'll go to how can they have their voices heard before that occurs. Just because you asked, I'm not exactly sure how that occurs. It's done by general election.
Right, I
It's
understand
on
that.
November 26th, November 2018 will be the next general election, so it's right around the corner.
So nobody will be there by then.
Maybe, maybe not, probably not. And then November 2020, so it'll be the 2 years after that. And it's staggered, it's 3 and 2. Answer your question directly, how can those residents in the expansion area have a voice on the board? Well, they're not board members, but just like any resident of the city of Homestead has a voice and has an opportunity to be heard in any one of your meetings, each one of those residents or any other member of the public also has that opportunity to show up at the East Homestead Community Development District.
And I fully understand that, but I'm looking for an insurance that their voice is heard, because they're a new community. They don't know the inner workings of the East Homestead CDD. They're not familiar with people there, and as they look to make sure their voice is heard, what do we do, or what does the CDD board do, or their legal team do to ensure that these people are given a fair shake and brought in and given the things that they need as they move in and see issues that need to be addressed?
Well, I could state as to the board Board of Supervisors that are currently in place at the East Homestead Community Development District, because myself and also my partner Mike Pavelchek are the ones that actually, as general counsel, do go to those meetings. This board is a very devoted board to listening to residents and the needs of residents as they come before them. And additionally, they do reach out to each one of the individual communities within Isles of Oasis as a community development district to make sure that is being done and to listen and provide that. Additionally, the districts themselves, just like you have a city manager, also has a district manager and a field operations supervisor. So as opposed to public works director or finance director, they have someone that's boots on the ground. That field operations person actually goes and sees what's going on in the community, which also would include the annexation area if that does occur. And so they would see what would be needed for that portion of the community in that new area, even before the residents may actually realize it or not. So that information would also it's also provided in a report and provided to each one of the supervisors. So those supervisors in that meeting have that opportunity. As to insurance, can I say we can put somebody on board? That's just not legal. Once it's turned over to a resident board under Chapter 190, which is a community development district charter, that must be followed. And they're all at large. So unfortunately, to give that 100% insurance, to say that someone new is going to be on that board, it can only be done through the election.
Right. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Arzer, come forward and keep that aisle clear for me, please.
Yeah.
We don't like people queuing up there if you don't mind. Sorry.
No worries.
Ms. Fairclough?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. How many, this question is for you, I don't think both of you can stand up here at the same time. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how many homes must be built out before they gain a seat on the board? Before this community gains a seat on the board? It's 247 homes.
It doesn't matter. Here's how it
Well,
would work.
it mattered in my community.
Well, it depends, because this is already controlled by the residents, the board. So it is already an at-large election, as I stated before.
Right.
We're going to have on November 18 and November 2020. To become a qualified elector of the district, and again, this is pursuant to Chapter 190, you must be over 18 or older, a U.S. citizen.
No, wait, let me stop you. We get all that. We get that. My question was, how many homes have to be built out? Okay, so you answered that. So once...
As long as you're a resident in one of those homes and you meet the qualifications of a qualified elector, you can run for that.
I don't think you understand my question.
I must not. I'm sorry.
No.
I apologize if I'm not understanding your question.
Carlos, please.
Forward, please. Name and address, please.
Hi, Carlos Gonzalez, 730 Northwest 107th Avenue, 3rd floor. Hello, thank you for hearing this out. So I think the concern is that when we're a developer, we begin with a brand new CDD. It's a developer-controlled district.
Right.
And as such, then over a number of years, right, there's a phasing process where the residents begin to take control. Right. I think what she's trying to express is that since we're annexing into an already owner-controlled board, instantly, if they meet the criteria she was about to lay out about their age and so on and so forth, they can
Right,
they
but
can
the
be
thing
elected.
is, you only can have a certain amount of Board of Supervisors, right? Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine this district, there's a set
Absolutely.
number of them.
So with 247 homes that's being added to this CDD, how many seats will open up because of the 247 additional homes, or will no seats be opened up as a result of the annexation?
That I can answer. No, there are no additional seats. There are only 5 seats on the Board of Supervisors of the CDD.
Regardless of how many homes?
Doesn't matter. That's
Okay.
what Chapter 190, that's what the charter says, 5. Regardless of how many are added, how large a CDD is, whether it's small, whether it's large, 5 seats.
Okay.
And as long as...
So they won't get an additional seat because there are 247 additional homes?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Everyone has an opportunity as soon as they meet those qualifications. And that's
Right,
why
and as soon as there's an open election, they can run for the seat if
they
they would
can
like.
run.
Okay.
If you buy in home number 1 in the annexation area, and you're in, and you make the qualifications, you can go run
Okay,
immediately.
I got that. Thank you.
Okay.
So my next question is for you, Carlos. Now, are these next-gen homes? What type of homes are these?
They are not next-gen homes.
What, just regular, single-family
So,
homes?
Right now, they're single-family homes. We will have before you, I think in short order, our desire to add some next-gen, but that as of yet is not approved, and it's not part of the community right now.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about sales. How's that going?
Oh, so, you know, we're pretty happy with how sales are going right now. We've got, I think it's in the mid-30s in terms of sales. So, yeah, we're pretty happy with it. We opened up. We don't have the models up right now. We've got some older models in the other neighborhood, but as the community takes shape, we'll do better and better. So, we're pretty happy with our performance so far. We opened up this year.
Okay, so I've had conversations with you, I've had conversations with Hugo, and all of my questions and concerns have been answered. It's just a comment. As you are building out these homes, I need you to be very in tune to the quality of work by your subcontractors. Because I've lived through that process where they're building out, and they don't take a lot of care and concern when they're over there building in the area, and it looks a mess during that process. They're working on Saturday mornings at 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's brutal to live through, and I don't want anyone else to live through that.
It is. It's tough, and I hear you. I mean, I got to tell you, it's very challenging these days to find skilled labor in our business, but it's an everyday challenge for us when we're trying to meet everyone's expectations. So I appreciate the comment. We're aware, and we do have to get better at it.
Right, because I get the phone calls, I get the emails, and you know I send you pictures.
You do.
And I call you,
want you getting
and I
those.
text you.
I don't want you
So
getting
just
those.
please work with me on that.
You have my
Okay?
word.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burgess?
Thank you. Since Mr. Gonzalez, he brought up the next gen home, I know that tonight is not, they're not on the agenda. But they bring a fear to me because as somebody realize they move in and somebody sees, oh my God, now I've got this tax bill and I forgot about this extra money that's going to be on there perhaps. But they have an opportunity to rent a parcel of their, or a portion of their home. And we see it, it's happening in town, it's happening in next-gen homes. And I gotta tell you, I'm not in favor of next-gen homes. And so I just wanted to put that out there tonight because I think you're coming soon to bring them. So if this whole CDD passes tonight, we're gonna be back to square one on this next homes. I just wanted to let you know that as we smile at one another.
So I appreciate that.
Because I see those as a headache for our code enforcement. I see those as a headache for the people that live around them with Airbnb and all these other things that are popping up, or just flat out rentals as people put somebody into has an opportunity that perhaps maybe got over their head a little bit and now has an opportunity to put a little bit of cash in their pocket to help themselves with their payments. And it, 9 out of 10, or I shouldn't say 9 out of 10 times, I would have to say that a lot of those times it doesn't work out good for the neighbors or the neighborhood or the city. So I would just put that in your head as you try to move forward.
Well, I appreciate the insight. I will just add that in our documents, we do put I
hope the models you sold aren't next gen because we're going to have a battle.
We did not. We did not. And so we preclude the ability to rent those out. Again,
I understand, yeah, but you're not there every day to keep an eye on it. Neither are we, unfortunately, but the neighbors live there every day with them.
You're absolutely right. I understand the concern, and when we're before you with it, I think I know how you feel about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Sir. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I know we had a chance to meet. I know last meeting I had some reservations about the CDD. I mean, generally, principally, I'm not a big fan of HOAs and CDDs, and we had that discussion and topic. But I do appreciate you were able to provide me some additional information because my biggest concern about the CDD was cost stability for the people that are moving into. So I understand that they get notified of what their liability is going to be. They plan for that. And so my concern that I expressed was that then over time, the CDD board decides to increase that cost and it's an unexpected expense for the person living in the neighborhood. And ultimately, that can cause hardship for them and things of that nature. But you did provide me some documentation that showed that over the last 15 years or so, that the current CDDs within the South Dade area, within Homestead area, have been pretty stable across the board. And so that gave me some peace of mind that the homeowner, at least for a lengthy period of time, was given some cost stability. So that did relieve me of my concern on the CDD side of things. I know HOAs are a little more volatile, but that's not what's before us tonight. What's before us is a CDD. So I was glad to see that. So you were able to actually convert me from a non-believer or a person that was more of a negative vote to a positive vote. So I do appreciate the meeting with me and giving me the information that I needed to feel comfortable moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Mr. Burgess?
I too appreciate the time as we spent almost 2 hours the other day discussing this as a novice on CDDs and somebody who hasn't lived with one but has them around them. You hear things, hearsay, good, bad, whatever it is. And I think all my questions were answered, and for whoever was there were 4 or 5 people there. And I also understand now, the good that can come out of one, and versus what thoughts or ideas that I had versus one. So, I think that there is good. I may not be in 100% agreement, but I do think that there is good with them too. So, thank you for your time the other day. I forgot to say that earlier.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. Roth?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I've given this a lot of thought and spent a lot of time on this subject. I'm not going to go back and rehash what I said last month. And I took to heart everything we talked about as well. And I made some phone calls today to constituents that live in CDDs. And I still haven't been able to find anyone who likes paying more taxes on their properties. So I can't, support something that's going to put a burden on somebody in the future, because you may disclose to the new home buyer that their taxes are higher than the guy living 100 feet away from them, and explain that, to them. I've talked to a lot of other people that are in the real estate business as well, and they feel that the CDD actually brings down the property values because of the additional tax. So, in all fairness, I just wanted to say that I gave this a tremendous amount of thought, and the financial burden that it places on a potential buyer now and in the future is something that I can't support. Hugo, you made a comment about first-time home buyers. There's not a whole lot of first-time home buyers going out there and buying $350,000 houses. So that doesn't really come into play. And if there's an issue with financing with FHA regulations and limits that they set, then that might be something to consider, speaking to somebody who controls that and raising those limits if the values of properties have approached that level where a first-time home buyer has to qualify for $350,000 on a house. So I don't know that you may have in the developments first-time home buyers that come in there that can afford $350,000. And on top of that, the additional property tax or assessment that they have to face every year for 30 years. And then the next person who buys that house who may not even be told that they live in a CDD, because we don't know who is selling that house to them. It's not you guys. You guys are doing what you're supposed to do. You're telling them that they have all these additional charges. So sitting up here and thinking about people that will move back or move into the area after the home is sold and then it goes into resale mode concerns me. It concerns me a lot, because if the person who's paying $350,000 today for that house and the market dips and they can't sell their house for $300,000 in 4 or 5 years, and I'm trying to predict the future, we end up in the same boat we were in 2012, 13, and 14 with enormous numbers of foreclosures, because people jump out of the houses when the values drop. We saw that. And I just wanted to put that out there, that I spend a lot of time thinking about this, listening to what you guys said yesterday, and I understand parts of it, but in the long run, my feeling is that this doesn't benefit those 247 homes that are being put up there today. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Any other comments? We're on tab 11. Is there a motion on tab 11? Wait, one second, wait a minute. Did I open up the public hearing? Okay. My bad, excuse me. So I'd like to open up the public hearing on tab 11, 19, and 20. Anyone would like to speak, you're welcome to at this time. 11, 19, and 20. Come forward, please, sir. Sit down.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Stephen McDuffie, 139 Southeast 36th Avenue, Homestead, Florida. I represent the Baywinds Community Development District and Councilwoman Fairclaw's City Council District. And going to what Mr. Roth said, as a homeowner who pays that every year, that I pay usually $6,600 a year for property tax. And on top of that, out of that, it's about $1,300 a year for our CDD in Napa, in the vineyards. And that goes, Patricia has to pay this maybe out of her mortgage or something on her chateau house. There's many people in our community that do not like that extra tax. even though it does go to pay for the bond on the infrastructure that was put in prior to the community being developed. I guarantee you, like, listening to all the residents in our community and talk to other CDD board members, they hear it all the time from their constituents, and as you guys do as well, that we don't like paying that extra tax. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Maldonado, you have.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Kind of some comments in regard to that, I guess, you know, because I spoke last time in favor of the CDD as a past chair for our community development district. You know, for us, when we purchased a home, we were again made aware, and it was a LENNAR property in States of Mendocino. You know, we were very aware of the taxes. The breakdown was there for us, so there was no surprise for us at any time. Actually, with LENNAR, I felt pretty comfortable. I mean, I remember the sales person, when we purchased the house, they gave me the big book of our HOA, as well as, and they made mention of the CDD, and they said, you know, the best thing you could do is just grab a bottle of wine and just go ahead and sit there and read it, because it's going to be a long one. So actually, I did that, but without the bottle of wine. I just like reading. And that's kind of how I got involved and why I sit here today as a leader in this community. You know, so they made it comfortable for us who were first-time home buyers that qualified for a $260,000 home at the time. You know, we were comfortable with what we were walking in. I could tell you, and the concern of Mr. Roth, I'd want to speak in regards to that. When the homes were in the situation that we were back when the recession hit, yes, those issues came before us, but at no time did we have to raise assessments or raise taxes or raise anything on our community, because there was still, because the rest of the CDD that was in there as well balanced out those who could not afford it and bailed out. So there wasn't a full community like bailout and then, you know, everything went to trash. On the contrary, what happened was, because we were able to balance out, we still had we were still able to pick up our police officers that we have there, 24/7 off-duty police officers. We still had we made sure all our maintenance was done within the community so that it looked well, so that if there were any potential home buyers at the time, they would see that the community looked well, and it did look well. You know, it depends on who you ask. I mean, no one likes to pay taxes, right? But we pay taxes every day, so let's not be foolish in saying that. No one likes to pay it. I don't like to pay it, but guess what? I pay it. But I pay with an understanding that I'm getting a service in return that's not done for free. No one's gonna come cut my grass. No one's gonna no police officer's gonna just come in my neighborhood, you know, extra hours, or because, you know, because they feel like it, you know. No, we're paying for that. That tax pays for that. So I'm in favor for it. I'm kind of thinking where all the future communities should be a model like this, because it's a controlled environment. Again, I don't have a semi-trailer parked in my neighbor's house, and I don't have any, you know, house that's a different color house that doesn't meet our palate. You know, everything it's almost cookie cutter, and you know, my community really enjoys it, and so I could speak on behalf of the city. I'm not saying it's. Again, I didn't like paying it as well, but the good thing was that our community, when it got rough and it got bad, we were able to survive this tough time, and we never skipped a beat. There was no services, and any houses that were foreclosed on, or we weren't collecting the taxes on that, well, guess what? We had provision that was set through our CDD, set through our HOA council, that when those houses do sell, any monies that are owed on that sale of the house, we were getting our money back. So our CDD and our HOA was never in the negative, because at the end of the day, when you sold that house, we were supposed to get that money back. So just wanted to put a little bit more information. Again, to speak in favor, I'll be supporting this item tonight. So that's it for me, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Roth?
Yeah, just to be clear, the HOA controls the environment inside the gates of each of the communities, whether it be Portofino Palms, Portofino Bay, any parts of the communities in Waterstone. The CDD has no authorization within the gates of each of these individual communities. So when your grass is being cut, it's being cut by the HOA, not the CDD. The CDD is responsible for everything on the outside of the community. That would be landscaping, swells, Christmas decorations at the entrance, things of that nature, maybe drainage in the community. So just so we don't misunderstand, the CDD doesn't control a semi-truck being parked in your garage or your driveway. It doesn't control the colors of the property inside the community. The CDD has no authority over that portion of it. I think it's enough said about this item, and it probably should go to vote. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. We still have the public comment open. Anyone would like to speak? Close the public comment. Anything final from council? Okay, we're going to take, Hugo, do you want to say something?
No, I don't.
Okay. So is there a motion on tab 11? Is there a second? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilman Ron?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Fairclough? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Motion carried. Tab 19, is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Ron?
It's the CDD.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Fairclough? Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 20, is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Councilwoman Fairclough? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Next item is tab 12. James?
Yes, this is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, repealing and rescinding ordinance number 2016-0506, adopted on May 18, 2016, that amended the development order for the villages of Homestead, Development of Regional Impact, and also finding that such amendment did not constitute a substantial deviation, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Mayor, Council, this is an item, just a brief summary here. As you may recall, back in 2016, there was an amendment that you all approved to the Villages of Homestead Development of Regional Impact. It was an amendment to the development order. Subsequent to your approval, that development order was challenged by the Homestead Miami Speedway, both in circuit court and an administrative proceeding in Tallahassee. Both of those items are still under pending litigation. To date, we've been unable to obtain a settlement agreement with the Speedway. Subsequent to the pending litigation being filed, the applicant requested that their application be withdrawn and requested that you all as a body repeal and rescind the 2016 development order that was approved so that everything would revert back to the 2012 development order instead. So this item is before you as a request by the applicant. Also, because we've been unable to obtain settlement thus far, this action, if approved, would help mitigate any further expense to litigation and would hopefully moot the pending litigation This action is exactly what the Speedway had requested the court determine in their lawsuits. Because we're in pending litigation, I would ask that we limit any in-depth discussion on this. I'm happy to answer any questions, concerns that you have, but I would refrain from getting into any details that we've discussed in our privileged executive session on this matter.
Any non-questions from the council? Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak, you're welcome to come from the public at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Any final non-comments from council? Is there a motion? Is there a second? Moving to second, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes. Councilman Burgess? No. Councilwoman Faircloth? Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Tab 13.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is an ordinance for second reading. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the budgets for the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018 by increasing the total budgeted revenues and expenditures by $71,216, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date.
Mr. Manager.
Mayor, I know this is because the second reading, there was a discussion at the last meeting. Police Department has requested the addition of 2 dispatchers. The reasons provided in the attached memorandum resulting in an increase of total dispatchers from 12 to 14. Total annual impact to the general fund is estimated to be $142,432, while the impact to fiscal year 2018 for approximately 6 months is expected to be $71,216. The attached ordinance is presented for their consideration. Approved budget amendment to the general fund as the attached schedule.
Questions from council? Ms. Faircloth?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. At the last meeting, I had requested numbers as it relates to overtime. And Carlos, you sent us that information, but I didn't see it in the tab, unless I overlooked it. Can you just go over those numbers for the general public, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, the overtime in fiscal year 2016 was $119,328. In fiscal year 2017, it was $132,169. And in fiscal year 2018 through 4/15, it was $75,708.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Any other questions from council? This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak, you're welcome to come at this time. Close the public hearing. Any final comments? Is there a motion? Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Faircloth? Yes. Councilman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 14.
Mr. Mayor, this is another ordinance for second reading. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the budgets for the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018 by increasing the total budgeted revenues and expenditures by $500,000, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date.
Carlos, could you explain this is not an increase in the budget, it's moving money?
It's not an impact to the budget, but you have to appropriate the funds. These funds were received, I believe, in 2014, so they've been sitting on the books in escrow or deferred revenue. So what we're doing here is doing 2 things, recognizing the revenue and at the same time appropriating so that the funds can be expended.
Okay. Mr. Manager, do you have anything additional? Any questions from council? This is a public hearing. You're welcome to come forward at this time. Close the public hearing. Any final comments? Is there a motion on tab 14?
Move it.
Is there a second? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Faircloth? Yes. Councilman Maldonado. Councilman Burgess. Vice Mayor Shelley. Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 15. James?
Yes, tab 15 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 1 in general, Section 30-1 definitions, to add definitions related to medical marijuana uses, and establishing Article 3 district regulations, Division 1 generally, Section 30-70, interpretation of uses and structures, permitted, prohibited uses, to prohibit medical marijuana dispensaries, providing for conflict, severability, inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading. So, Mayor, members, council members, following your policy direction at last month's committee of the whole meeting, this ordinance essentially codifies the prohibition on medical marijuana dispensaries. It defines medical marijuana treatment facilities, which include dispensaries, and it provides a provision in the very beginning of the zoning code, permitted uses, to prohibit medical marijuana dispensaries in all zoning districts in the city, pursuant to your policy direction given at the Cal meeting last month.
Go into the details a little bit deeper about what the state held back as their ability to enforce or regulate.
Sure. So we had a conversation last month about what the legislation that came out in last year in 2017, and essentially where the needle ended with respect to that legislation was that it preempted local government's ability to regulate the manufacture and grow facilities, but it allowed municipalities the ability to regulate dispensaries. And it basically said that municipalities have the ability to prohibit dispensaries or they can regulate. But if they decide to allow or permit, they have to regulate on equal footing and they have to treat it the same as you would any retail pharmacy. So where you would allow for a CVS or any type of pharmacy, you would have to allow for a medical marijuana dispensary. And so you couldn't regulate any further than that. That was basically the baseline. It was sort of an all or nothing. And you all decided that, it's fine with respect to the grow and manufacture facilities. We were preempted by state law. We can't control that. We can't control delivery. But that you all did not want to open the city up to an onslaught of potential dispensaries coming in the city at this time. If the legislature changes course at a future time and does give the municipalities some further ability to regulate, we can always look at this and re-examine this issue at a further time. But at this juncture, that was where the conversation sort of ended last month in your direction given to me to modify the ordinance. I'd advise that if we were going to take the position or the approach that we were going to prohibit, that it was best for us to memorialize that in the code so that there isn't any question in the future with respect to someone coming in trying to do something.
Any questions from council? I'll open up the public hearing at this time. Name and address, please, sir.
Kim Hill. Ms. Bailey, we see that there's a deficit in the growth of business on the southwest side. We expect for you to be able to sit up here and be a major player when you're talking about the possibilities. We understand what medical marijuana has done for California in certain districts. We understand what medical marijuana has done for the state of Colorado, but yet we still see a blight on the southwest side. This is a great opportunity, will be a great opportunity for you to raise your hand or for you to research the possibilities of allowing young entrepreneurs. You have to understand, on the southwest side, there are many African-American males who've been wiped out of their constitutional rights of voting and everything else for the possession of marijuana. But right now, we see a lot of innovative ways of growth and potential of revenue with medical marijuana. But yet at the same time, we don't see any political ingenuity into being able to take advantage of these possibilities. Silence once again.
Any other comments, public comments? Close the public hearing. Ms. Bailey?
I would like to say that I'm not against medical marijuana, but my issue is that if the federal government doesn't have a very clear understanding of what we're allowed to do, it risks the business owners, it risks it could be an entire building that's in risk. So that's my issue, is until things are clear with the federal government, you know, you can get a prescription from a doctor, have it mailed right to your house.
Correct.
So I just want you to know that that's my issue with it. Thank you.
And to follow up, I mean, obviously, you know, the concern I think that I had as an elected official is you know, I got a chance to see the medical marijuana dispensaries in California. Every 25 feet, you know, you had a so-called doctor, and then you had a dispensary, you know, 2 doors down. So, and what was most glaring from the comment that you made, James, about, you know, you'd have to treat it like every other drugstore in effect, which is every Publix, every corner of every street, you know, at intersections have CVS. Right across the street you have a Walgreens, and maybe right across the street you've got another one. So that was a huge fear for me, was you know, having that magnitude of potential dispensaries inside the city limits. So the choice was kind of like you said, all or nothing. And my position was at this particular point, nothing, until again something changes at a higher level and we're able to regulate. And as Ms. Bailey said, you know, the state allows distribution through the mail. If you have a legitimate prescription to purchase medical marijuana, if it's been prescribed, you can order it and it'll be delivered to your home, but it doesn't necessarily put a dispensary on every corner of the streets in Homestead. That was just my particular position. So is there any other comments from council? Is there a motion on tab 15? Is there a second? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fairclough? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 16.
Mayor, the purpose of this project is to replace existing relays which have reached end of life with new improved relays for the Lucy, Florida City Transmission Line Panel and the Lucy Substation. The project will be performed in 2 phases. Phase 1 will consist of engineering, and Phase 2 is for the construction to replace the relays. The city's intent is award this project solely to one vendor to perform both phases. The contractor will be providing engineering, designing, installation, settings, and testing, and commissioning for protection and control systems for the Lucy Substation. Staff recommends Mayor and Council authorize City Manager to approve the award of ITB number 201816 to PowerServe Technologies for the replacement of the existing electromechanical 138 kV line panel relays at the Lucy Substation in the amount of $87,847.
Questions from council? It's a capital improvement project. Seeing none, is there any questions from the public? Any comments from the public? Tab 16. Close the public hearing. Any final comments? Is there a motion? Moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 17.
Due to the residential and commercial growth within the city of Homestead, an upgrade to HPS Energy Services Renaissance Electrical Substation is required. The upgrade involves the installation of a second power transformer. This installation will increase electrical reliability on the east side of the city, will give Homestead Energy the ability to redistribute the electrical load more effectively and also provide additional flexibility in reconfiguring the system in order to conduct planned maintenance on the substation infrastructure. CIP number 0634 was approved for $1 million in the 5-year CIP plan due to a revised scope of work. To date, the actual costs for the different components of the project have resulted in project amendments totaling $112,150. The additional funding has been covered by reductions to other CIP projects. Staff recommends Mayor and Council authorize the city manager to approve the award of ITB 201805 to Virginia Transformer Corp., the lowest and most responsive bidder, in the amount of $680,468, and this is part of a project CIP number 634.
Let me ask you a question, Barbara. Why do you need a new site as opposed to making the existing site larger? I know we have substations. I'll just explain why you need a new site and a new location, please.
This is for expansion at the existing site in
It
the
is.
Park of Commerce, yes. There's another one later on that's for land, but this particular item is for expanding the substation that we have in the Park of Commerce.
So I'm getting ahead of myself?
Yes.
We'll answer it anyway. So we don't have to ask it again.
Okay. We serve the west side of town through our 2 substations, which are located right over by the power plant, as well as the substation on Redland Road and Campbell. And those circuits are getting heavily loaded on that side of town. We don't have the space to do what we're doing over in the Park of Commerce substation, the Renaissance substation. We don't have the space to put in another power transformer, especially in the 2 substations over by the plant. They're very tight. We can't configure them and add to the reliability of the system that way. So that's why we were looking for a parcel of land to build another substation. And that's again that's later on in the meeting.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I know that I was curious as to why we would need to buy more land. I know that we bought a substation out to the far west in the off of Redland Road, and I know the substation here is kind of small, and I didn't know if it was generated by basically needing a feeder, another route in from another location is what I was curious about.
We are fortunate that we've been able to find property that's located right under the high voltage line. So we would be tapping into that high voltage line, and it would provide us another interconnection to the grid, so that improves reliability. But the reason that we need it is because the circuits on the west side are becoming overloaded.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to jump ahead, but I jumped ahead.
That's okay.
So we're on
Mayor,
tab.
that was a good segue to remind people that there's something here for the east side and the west side tonight. So that was good to point out.
Okay, so on tab 16.
17.
17.
Tab 17.
17. Any questions from council? Any questions from the public? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, close the public comment. Any final questions? Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Fairclough? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Tab 18.
Mayor, this is part of that $500,000 cultural facilities grant that the city had been awarded by the state for the Seminole Theater. I'm not sure Mickey was going to try to make it tonight, but basically there was a list of items that they had thought would be a good idea to fund from this $500,000. And one of these items was to do a marquee so they could get greater visibility of what's going on inside the theater, help with ticket sales. And so they did a bid on this. Initially, they had projected $80,000. The bid quote came in at $98,893. And so what we're recommending here is that this project be approved at that price and that the $18,893 be paid out of our contingency fund.
Any questions from council? Any comments from the public? I'll open up the public hearing at this time. Close the public hearing. Any final comments? Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fairclough? Councilman Burgess? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Here's the one I was talking about. Tab 21, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, there's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the purchase of property located in the vicinity of Southwest 296th Street and 159th Avenue, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Mr. Manager.
Staff recommends Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for the acquisition of a parcel of land to be used for a new electrical substation for a total amount of $605,000.
Nothing needed, I don't think, at this point. I've already asked a question, so. Any questions from council? Any comments from the public? Open up the public comment at this time. Close the public comment. Any final questions, comments? Is there a motion?
Move it.
Is there a second? Second. Seconded, moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 22.
Mr. Mayor, there's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an agreement between the City of Homestead and Sisters of Abundant Living, Inc. to implement the United States Department of Agriculture Summer Food Service Program, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, Sisters of Abundant Living is a nonprofit organization that wishes to operate a mobile summer meals unit out of Roby George Park between the months of June and August. The program is sponsored by the Florida Department of Agriculture and is a community partner with Florida Impact, which assists with site and partner development. The organization operates 6 mobile units serving 22 locations near the Little River, Liberty City, Perrine, and Homestead communities. On average, Sisters of Abundant Living serve 740 youths daily during the 10 weeks of summer. In 2017, they served more than 33,290 meals over the summer months. The summer meals are free to the community for children under 18. Staff seeks direction to continue a program that provides meals. The attached resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into an agreement with Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services for the city to serve as the USDA Summer Food Service Program sponsor.
Questions from council? Vice Mayor?
Yeah, question. I remember this from last year. I think it's a great program. And essentially, I understand it. Essentially, we're a pass-through, right? We are essentially the applicant, but then we pass the monies through to the program, which actually then carries out the operations.
Vice Mayor, last year they did it, and it was a success. Very long lines, a lot of kids and people were using it. And I think it was the same thing as last year. We okayed it. I think last year we did help them pay for their insurance, but this year they're paying. So more or less, this is just a free thing for them to give out food.
What?
Yes.
All right, so that was my next question, though. So we're passed through for the monies. It's not out of our pocket per se, but then it looked like this year they're actually asking for the insurance coverage, but you're saying they've got it covered? Because it says here they're also asking, or is this from last year's? That's last year's agenda. Okay, so then we covered last year, so this year they're good. All right, so my question was answered.
Sorry, the mic kicked you off. Was that
Yeah,
it?
but that's good. Yeah, that was my next question, but that's been answered.
All right, sir. Okay. Ms. Bailey?
I just wanted to say I think it's also a great program. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know.
Any other comments? This is a public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fairclough? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 23.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, accepting the Florida Department of Environmental Protection grant agreement for Homestead Pump Station and plant construction, approving the grant agreement for the construction of an influent pump station at the city's water and sewer facility, authorizing the execution and implementation of the grant agreement, establishing a budget in the amount of $450,000 for the expenditure of grant funds, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, in July 2017, in accordance with an appropriation of the Florida Legislature, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection awarded the City of Homestead a grant in the amount of $450,000 for the construction of an influent pump station at the city's wastewater treatment facility. Staff recommends Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution and authorize City Manager to accept and execute the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection Agency grant agreement between the City of Homestead and FDEP, awarding the city $450,000. And this grant does not require a city match.
Any questions from council? I'll open up the public hearing at this time. Anyone would like to speak? Close the public hearing. Any final comments? Is there a motion? Moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Fairclough? Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Yes. Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, I have no cards on the public hearing, so there are no public comments at this time. Any business from the city manager? City attorney? No. Mr. Roth? Business from mayor and council.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to give a great big shout out to the city staff, and I'm sure others will say that tonight, about the fireworks display and the groundbreaking and all that good stuff that happened last Friday night here in downtown Homestead. And I just want to say I look forward to many more exciting things coming. Losner Park is a thought in my mind right now. Thank you, Mayor. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Maldonado?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to the manager, I recently received an email and a phone call query on City Hall, the old City Hall site. They keep asking what we're going to do with it, and I keep saying, like everything else, we talk about it, but we always come up with a great idea and a great plan that benefits the city. And but they're calling, and so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I'll forward the email as well, so that you're aware of it. Yes, great job on the groundbreaking event. It was a historical moment. I was glad to be there, and I took my daughter with me, and it was a good time, good memories. And so I'm looking forward to not driving to Kendall or to Sunset to watch a good movie. So I'll finally be able to do it here in Homestead. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Bailey.
I would just like to thank the great folks at FarmShare for making our first event here in the Southwest with FarmShare a great success. I look forward to having many, many more. I also wanted to thank staff for all their help and patience with me through this Homestead Art Walk as I learned the ropes, and especially to all my colleagues up here for supporting. I think this is going to be a great event, and I am incredibly excited. And lastly, just as a resident, I mean, I was blown away Friday. I thought it was amazing. See my husband and my son's face. I mean, it was great. So I'm incredibly proud to be here and looking forward to how it's going to change the downtown area. So thanks again.
When is the art walk?
The art walk is May 26th. We have a long weekend, noon to 6. It's going to be a full event with food, different stops to. Food is good, definitely. And different art stations that you can stop by, do all different types of things, photo booths. The little stage will be set up with a professional artist. You can go up there and do your version of Painting with a Twist, walk away with your own masterpiece, and everything free. So, free and for a good cause, Losner Park. Yes.
That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Ms. Fairclough.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank you and Councilwoman Bailey for participating in our 4th Annual Champions for Education. It was a great night to recognize all of our Teachers of the Year, Rookie Teachers of the Year, as well as businesses, nonprofits, education administrators who have had an impact on education for the 2017-2018 school year. So I thank you for your support. And also, I just wanted to follow up and get some information from our police department. I know with the hardening of schools from the state of Florida, local superintendents are placed in a position to harden schools. And I heard at a town hall meeting that the superintendent of schools had requested to meet with local mayors and chiefs of police to determine how municipalities can support the hardening of schools. There are some municipalities that already have rolled out plans and are actively supporting and are visible at schools. So I kind of wanted to know what role our City of Homestead Police Department will play in supporting our schools to ensure the safety and security.
Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Fairclough, back at the first week of April, Captain DeJean represented the city at the meeting you're talking about. Was held over in Miami Beach with all the police chiefs and the Miami-Dade County school staff. There was discussion there as far as post-Parkland incident about the funding that Governor Scott had sent down. He had sent a lot of funding to the Miami-Dade school police, and they had discussed at the meeting the hiring of approximately 100 new police officers with their unit utilizing those funds. There was some discussion as to what might trickle out to the other agencies, municipalities, and so forth, as far as funding and so forth, because most of the other agencies are very strapped, just like Homestead are, as far as the additional funding and manpower and so forth, and staffing the schools with full-time officers. There was also some discussions of maybe a recommendation made to them, which I haven't heard back from them yet, but there was a recommendation to the school board that they might consider utilizing that funding for disbursement of it being an off-duty detail versus actual full-time employee. And by doing that, you can circumvent the fringe benefits and the extra costs that come into effect. I know that Chief Moffitt from Miami-Dade Schools has reached out to the chief last week, and I think they are scheduling a meeting together to sit down and maybe come up with something concrete. We're also looking out and trying to see if there is, in fact, possibly that funding going to come down from the state, from Governor Scott to some of the municipalities. There was discussion at that meeting that that's a good possibility of occurring also.
So at this meeting, there was a lot of conversations regarding what can happen, but was there a particular ask from the superintendent to municipalities on ways to support?
From my understanding, from what Captain DeJean is, no, but I'll let him answer that.
Come to the microphone up here, please.
Vice Mayor, Council. During that meeting, there was a lot of discussion about mostly the funding that was coming from the state and how they had the desire to hire approximately 100 officers to bolster the force of the Miami-Dade School Board Police. Again, a lot of discussion was come from different, mayor of one city in particular had brought forth the question, why don't they use that funds to reach out to the local municipalities and hire the officers in an off-duty capacity? That was kicked around a little bit, but it was really never pushed any further, because the main purpose of what they were discussing is what school board was going to do. It was never asked upon us or any municipality is exactly what we were going to provide. We did, a mayor did ask what funding was going to come down to the local municipalities, and it wasn't clear at that time as to what amount of money would be filtered down. As soon as they found out, they would let us know. They said they were sure there would be more information forthcoming, but they didn't have it at that time. And since then, we have not heard anything specifically. And it may be that maybe what Chief Moffitt is going to talk to our chief about.
And when is that meeting?
Excuse me?
When is the meeting with Chief Moffitt and Chief of Police? Has that been determined?
My understanding, it was possibly going to be this week, if not this week, sometime next week. I know that Chief Moffitt has been calling and trying to schedule the meeting. I think initially it was Friday, but I'm not sure if it'll actually occur this Friday.
So based on the discussions that were had at that meeting, and I'm sure you brought that information back to the chief and top brass, what were some of the recommendations or the ideas that stemmed from your debriefing?
When I passed on the information to our staff, and it was basically just as what the superintendent had discussed, which is the funding, which was basically the funding that was going to fund them. There was nothing that was put forth as to what we were going to do. There was no tactical plans discussed. Miami-Dade police, one thing that was discussed is when they hire 100 officers, it would leave approximately 160 schools uncovered still, even with the hiring of additional officers. And that's when it came to light. The suggestion was made, look out to these other law enforcement agencies, other jurisdictions that could help supplement that. It'd probably be far more cost effective to just hire the officers on an off-duty basis as opposed to hiring and including all the fringe and the equipment and all these things that have to go along with it. The money would go a lot further. Miami-Dade had their input, and they said they actually did their own study on it, and it would cost approximately about $22 million a year them to fund it, for them to put their officers in positions, and their officers would not be working as school resource officers as would the Miami-Dade officers. They would be there merely just for protection. And I would imagine if the funds rolled down the same way and we were able to, cover, and that's, what Miami-Dade was talking about, we would be able to do the same thing, but it would be mostly as a force protection at these different schools, as opposed to having our local officers there as school resource officers.
Well, I doubt if any money will trickle to municipalities for off-duty, so I doubt that's going to happen. But to put some context to this, currently all middle schools and high schools have school resource officers. Elementary schools do not have resource officers. So this additional funding could potentially provide an officer to every elementary school. But from what I understand is they're not interested in giving money to local municipalities. They're interested in determining how local municipalities can support safe schools. So leading up to this meeting with Chief of Police, our Chief of Police and Chief Moffitt, I will encourage our department to think of ways in which we can support schools outside of recommending that they hire the officers in off-duty, because that's probably not going to happen. So if you can have some internal discussions on the role we can play, if any, to support the safety and security at our local schools, that would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's going to be that's our biggest concern, because these are our schools in our city. Those schools may belong to Miami-Dade, but these are our children. So we want to make sure that they are covered. Obviously, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that happens, but
and then I would also recommend that you collaborate with some of the other municipalities that already have plans in place, like the city of Palmetto Bay. They don't have full-time officers there, but they do have a presence there a couple days during the week. City of Palmetto Bay, Miami Gardens, Opa-locka, we can have some conversations about those to those chiefs to determine how they're supporting schools, and we can perhaps get some ideas from them that are cost-effective.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Anything else, Ms. Greco?
No, that's
it. Thank you. Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. Colonel, I guess this would go to maybe code enforcement. On 28th Avenue, way to the south, over there by Centergate Drive, the Keysgate Elementary School and all, there's trees that have been blown over since the hurricane that the landowners failed to do anything with. And I just see them as a potential hazard with all the kids that walk up and down that highway, up and down the sidewalk to and from school every day. They go almost from, what is that, South Canal Drive area? Yeah, from Palm Drive to 328 on the west side of the highway mainly. I'd say there's probably 8 or 9 trees that are large trees that are still blown over on to the landowner's property, but he's failed to do anything with it. So if we could get somebody to maybe to take a look at that and see what we can do to take care of those hazards out there, I'd appreciate that.
I'll take care of that tomorrow for you, sir.
Okay, thank you. One thing is, as our legislators were here speaking tonight, it reminded me that the League of Cities will after all the charter review stuff is done at the state level, or not charter, constitutional review committee, and all that stuff is finalized, they will take it, decipher the information, come up with what they think is the best solutions for the cities, and be handing out some information. So as soon as that information is available and handed out to me at one of our board meetings or one of the meetings, I will make sure to get that to the management team and to everybody here at the city so that they can see it in case people do ask them. It'll be one opinion. It may not be your opinion, but it's the League of Cities' opinion, and they think that those is the best way to protect home rule and the city itself. So as soon as that's out, I'll make sure I get that distributed properly. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. The League of Cities is a great resource for us to have access to, so whatever they bring forward is greatly appreciated. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Just 2 quick items, both for the events that occurred last weekend. And so I think Friday night, the groundbreaking was a momentous occasion. I think that the city staff did a fantastic job. I know that you guys had a busy weekend all in all and probably pulled a 48-hour all-nighter or so. But Friday night was fantastic. You know, the fireworks, the presentation, the crowd that was showing up shows the excitement that our community has for that, the groundbreaking that we had and the projects that we have planned. So just want to thank staff for all the hard work you put into that. And then also for Military Appreciation Day, the very next day, you know, staff again worked very hard. A lot of planning went into that. Unfortunately, we had bad weather. The rain didn't cooperate, you know, so it limited some of our attendance based on normal years. But as far as staff's effort and the logistics of how the event went and how it was ran, it was top notch. So just thank staff for all your hard work and for doing such a good job at that event. So, and that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, you know, all I can say is just it's amazing the numerous events that have been put forth. Ms. Faircloth, her event at Seminole Theater, Champions of Education, was phenomenal. Blown away with the presentation and accolades for people who really get viewed accolades during the year. So it's really very, very well done, very nicely received, and I applaud you for that. The Farm Share event, both on either side here have done a great job. And then, you know, Mr. Manager, your staff pushed back on the Friday night event. The Friday night event. I'm getting them so confused with it, so many, but it's just been back to back, and I don't know what you could have done any better. I don't know how you could have been more impressed. My wife has to attend a lot of these things, and she never leaves ever telling me it was magical. She did that night. And Mr. Burgess, we missed you. I'm sorry you weren't able to attend. You would have really appreciated it. It was a very, very large turnout. I stood up on the top of the stage, and as far as I could see heads. You know, and Gary, the staff, everybody that brought the equipment. I mean, it was phenomenal, and it has been well received by the community. And again, I think it's one of those things that we said we were going to do, and we promised we were going to do it, and the promise has been kept. The ground has been broken, and the contractor is over there, and we'll have movies downtown, and there will be no rest for the weary because we've got to get ready for Lost in Their Park. We've got just numerous things going on, and couldn't be more proud of everybody for the work that they're doing. And my hat goes off to the council members. I'm blown away with what all of you do on a day-to-day basis, and the commitment to the city and your causes, your special causes. Everybody is a champion in their own realm, and just do a phenomenal job. And very, very proud of everyone. I would like to announce that we have 2 vacancies on the Historic Preservation Board. If anyone is interested, send an application to the clerk. If you, as a council member, have someone in mind, get them to send something to the clerk. I also have an opening on the Planning and Zoning Board. The chairman has resigned. I would ask that we obviously advertise the 1 position, but I also would like to ask the council if I could appoint Adelia Martinez as the chairman of the board. I guess that's supposed to be under the purview of the manager, subject to approval of the council. They need a chairman. Is there any problem? Is there a motion to appoint Adelia? Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. James, I'd like to ask, would you please speak to the Planning and Zoning Board about electing internally their own vice chair? I know there are certain circumstances when no one can always be at a meeting, but there needs to be a protocol, as there is here. You know, there needs to be someone to be able to chair the meeting in the absence of the chair. So, thank you, sir. The only other thing I'd do is I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Motion carries. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.